Welcome, everybody, to Azure Infinitum Podcast, Episode 3. We are back after almost a year since our last episode. Today, we have Stefan Vonwest, Shalindra Quartztail, and Pennadrin Stormhelm here with us, part of our leadership team here in the Azure Council.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the podcast.
You'll be introducing these guys here shortly. Wanted to let you all know that we are at the next threshold for our new big project, Azure Infinitum, Resurgens, Caeruleum. That means Azure Rising project in fancy words. We are about to start quite a lot of activity here, a big burst of plans coming up, new websites, lots of fun stuff in store. Today we're going to be talking a bit about that, a bit about this big project, everything to look forward to in the Azure Infinitum community, and why there's never been a better time to be an Azure member. In a moment here, we'll also hear from our council members present. You might have noticed there has been some changes in our community over the last year. We have got some lots of fresh new faces with us. Lots of wonderful people have come in and joined our community. We'd like to welcome all of our new members and everyone listening here. This podcast is planned to continue pretty regularly. This is the comeback episode. So we thank you all for being with us and listening to us today. And with that, let's go ahead and hear from some of our lieutenants that are with us today. First up.
Hi, I'm Stefan Vonwest. I play a bard. Been in the game for about 2 years, but enjoying it, and I really appreciate the Azure FC and Reika. It's really a very nice FC to be in.
I'm Pennadrin Stormhelm. I play primarily a gunbreaker, also some DPS classes. Just recently got an Omnicrafter as well. Been with Azure, actually, since I came back to the game. Started up about 3.5 years ago. So it's been where I've hung my hat and where I've called home.
Yep, I'm Shalindra Quartztail. I've been here about a little over a year now. Well over a year now. You probably know me from running just about every event you can possibly think of when somebody needs something. If you come on Wednesdays, you certainly know me from Shenanigans Night. I can't see myself being anywhere else at this point. I can't. This is home, and it'll be home for a while, so very long while. There's a fight that I'm going to probably be the one that's going to be turning the lights off at the end when they shut the servers off. There's going to be a fight for that, but I'll be the one that does that. So.
All right, thank you guys, and really awesome. Thank you. I think some of those same feelings can be felt across our community by a lot of members that enjoy Azure and our weekly activity and all the things that we promote a lot of good values and teamwork and camaraderie amongst our community. Those of you that are new that are listening, newer to our community, I mean. Over time, you'll see these things come to pass. You'll see that we really strive here to make the best community for everyone. A place that we do our best as leaders and a lot of community members as well. A lot of helpful people. We have a great scout team. The scout team is really our support core. There are a team of folks that keep their eyes out for things. They're kind of like light moderators. Our scouts assist, with a myriad of things. Some are recruiters, some aren't. And we have a whole entire system where folks rank up and work towards becoming a scout captain and so forth into the council. And so our lieutenants here with us today, we are going to start discussing the big project that's about to launch on May 1st and 2nd, technically, depending on time zones. So a little bit about that first here. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this big project? This technically started as an idea that has been going kind of around in circles for a little over, maybe about a year and a half now. The idea to kind of take Azure to this next level by just kind of refreshing our website, which is kind of it's kind of dated. I mean, Shifter has been around a long time. There's only so much it can do, but we aren't totally leaving Shifter. We're actually we're recreating what we have currently, and then we're also adding an entirely new site. Very beautiful site based on responsive coding with lots of pages, lots of information, things that generally just make everybody's experience easier, and also a nice place to look for Azure news, and you can look up all of our events, rules, and more. There's going to be nice little profiles for all of our leaders and support members. Information for Azure Day and program guides. Available a lot faster than before, and just a lot of nice features really that's going into this project to make this site kind of a new strength for Azure in the way that our site has kind of been all this time, but just this next level of what we have. So beyond that part, as you can see, we're bringing back the podcast. We are also going to be continuing to do a much more heavy recruitment in game, because the goal is to continue to increase our structure, continue to grow forward into the future, and overall, the Resurgens Caeruleum project, the Azure Rising project, is just to kind of boost morale, improve any area that we really can. And so far, just the beginning of this whole project it's a lot. I mean, if I know you guys have probably seen the post. It's a lot of information. It's a very big post, but it's
Yes, it is.
It's
That's an understatement.
yeah. I mean, it competes with the length of the game's patch notes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Really,
We're talking a major patch note, not
yeah.
these little,
Yeah,
not these minors,
it's
but
up
we're
there.
talking
It's
almost
up
an
there.
expansion patch here.
I mean, I really wanted to make sure that it was out about, a good week and a half, 2 weeks early, just to give everybody enough time to read it too, because I know that a lot of text for some people is a little intimidating. But I mean, there's just so much. I mean, there's so much we want to do for the community. There's so much we want to see, and there's no reason why this community can't continue to evolve and adapt and just become an even better version of itself, continue to reinvent. And I think that the post we're talking about, it'll be linked to the description below on the video on YouTube for this podcast, and anywhere else this is posted. We're talking about this post that just really details the best detailed, the best amount of details for this project, kind of the closest look at it that you can possibly get at this time until May 1st and 2nd. So available immediately on May 1st, 2nd will be this episode, which we're recording right now ahead of time. We are going to have the Azure Day May 2020 program guide, which is for our big celebration taking place at the end of May 30th and 31st. We got back-to-back games and prizes lined up. We will have the whole program. You can get an idea of what's happening during those days. And it's the first Azure Day that we've had since November. Can you believe that, guys?
Yeah.
My favorite part is the parade.
Mine's darts.
Oh, darts.
Who doesn't like throwing
If you're
their
wondering
body,
what darts is, darts is sort of a game that is played in some other MMOs, but we kind of took it and made it a little more intense. We call it diving at random target scenario, which is something that I just made up to go with the DARTS. But it involves flinging your body off of a really high place towards some
I
sort
was
of
about to
target,
say.
and then possibly winning a prize.
Whoever gets closest to the mark.
Yep.
Or whoever goes the furthest, or we've done lots of different scenarios
a couple
with
different
it.
versions. I mean, we even like that one little tiny bridge in Eastern Lenosha.
Oh
I
yeah,
love that place.
The northeast side, and then
Land on the bridge and win.
as close to the line on that bridge as possible, so some people can actually overshoot that one. It's pretty funny, and then even watching it is entertaining too. Like a lot of people that they might have gotten, if we're doing darts tournament per se, and they lose on round 1, they'll still come to round 2 or whatever the next round is that has that bridge on it, and just watch it just for the entertainment of seeing people fly over it.
Yeah,
but
it's some of the best
darts and
hopefully at one point we'll have the PvP tournament again. But
the PvP
we will
tournament.
definitely be bringing it back. That's a favorite, and it's just that along with Azure Day, there hasn't really been a good time for it lately. February would have been our normal time. There's some reasons, some stipulations. One, we do have this pandemic going on that's affecting a lot of people's lives. towards the end of February is really, if you think back, early March is really when we started hearing a lot about this going on. And
Yeah. I was forced to work from home by that time.
yeah, yeah, and that just it just didn't
Well,
seem right, and we weren't exactly ready in February. So if we were
yeah,
going to
that's
push
true.
it to March, trying to pull that off in March, I mean, could we have done it? Probably.
Maybe.
But as we were also watching activity levels, we didn't want to take on something that was of that magnitude with activity being so all over the place, at least at first. And I think now we have time, we have had time, sorry, that people have sort of fleshed out what their schedules are like, in quarantine and stuff like that. So we are seeing a little bit of a rise in activity as well as new members. And
And it's getting a lot of the newer members get a chance to know us and
Yeah.
everything else before we
Definitely, yeah.
slaughter
Oh,
them
yeah.
in PvP.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a surge in new members. People are getting really excited about joining the community. There's folks that have seen our project, seen our video, seen our Reddit.
That trailer video gave me goosebumps.
Oh yeah.
That was really
Yeah.
well.
Thank you. I mean, the trailer we're talking about is the Resurgens Caeruleum trailer. If you haven't checked it out yet, go for it. We'll also put that link in the description. You can also find that on our Facebook, our announcements, if you scroll up in Discord. And then, like I said, I'll also put a link here. But that trailer was really special. And that was a big part of announcing this project in a real official, sort of meaningful way with some feels. That song is the Final Fantasy prelude, but it is a kind of a rare version that, unless you know where it's from, you'll never hear it, because it was only used in a special event in San Francisco back in 2016 for the Final Fantasy 15 Uncovered event. They used it to announce the trailer called World of Wonder, and it was a trailer specifically just showing the landscapes in 15, and they used that whole song was made just for that. And so I've always thought of that song, and I'm like, that's a really like beautiful version of the prelude for Final Fantasy, because it's not just your standard like up and down harp, with maybe a vocal in the background. It kind of has this sense of like adventure towards the last half, and it's just kind of like it's got that one part of the tune that just keeps playing, and it's a little different than any of the other preludes. I've heard hundreds of preludes over the years. And that one just stands out to me, and I really liked it. So I thought, well, let's use something that isn't normally heard, because I was originally just gonna rip like, another one, but I'm like, no, I think this one's got a good vibe to it. It has that feeling of maybe reminiscing and then moving forward, which is really the spirit of this whole project. We are really on the verge of what we've been calling the next threshold, the next era, and it's going to be really nice for everybody that's already in our community, and it's setting up for everyone that's to come, because we can already assume that there is like a ton of awesome people that we haven't met yet that we're going to eventually meet and we're going to have a good time with, and everything's going to be great. So setting up for the future, and also, we do here in Azure, we do remember our past, where we come from. We are proud of our founding and the things that we've endured to get to this point. And we look towards the future. We're always looking forward and ready to take that next step, move forward. So that trailer was actually really special in announcing this project, and it does have older screenshots. There's a lot of folks that you may or may not recognize from the past. But in the video, the idea was kind of sort of to sneak in a way of like showing how Reika, my character, or me or whatnot, however you think of me, is like reminiscing through the years, and then at the end, you've got the announcement and the date and how we're moving into this next era. So it's not the most fancy trailer, but it definitely was meant to have those feels, and I'm really glad that was able to be communicated across, to you guys, and you guys felt that too.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
all of us know. It's like we were all reminiscing at the same time, because a lot of us, with the people, with the people who aren't here anymore, in those pictures, we remember them.
Yeah.
So
right.
it definitely was a lot of feels with it.
Yeah, I imagine there is a lot of different feels, but
for me, it was more of a Yeah, I've been playing MMOs for a long time. First one I ever played was EverQuest. So I've been playing, oh gosh, MMOs almost 30 years, and or any kind of. But whether I was in EverQuest for 8 years, WoW for 9 years, now I'm in Fun for 14. Yeah, I've been a raider a long time. But that watching that video just kind of, not only just the feelings of currently in the game, but from all the past experience from all MMOs I've ever played with, it kind of gives you that reminiscence.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, I mean, just past, present, future. That's a big thing, and we often something that we say sometimes is for those are with us today and those to come, because there's always going to be different eras in communities. But since our founding, I mean, we have been incredibly lucky, and I consider us blessed to have been through some of the things that we've been through, the positive stuff, including some of the negative stuff that has actually helped us grow. I mean, it depends on your philosophy, but personally, I like to take a lot of negative, turn into a positive. That's something that a lot of people know about me. And not saying that that's what this whole project is about, but I'm just saying that in general, sometimes the best wisdom comes from turning bad things into good things, and sometimes recognizing that there are always ups and downs to life, and when you can get through like certain trials or challenges, especially as a team, or like the online sort of like family that Azure can be a lot of the time, or almost all the time, and then move even further, and then take those things and not allow it to destroy your community, because every community goes through this or that, has certain setbacks, but just the fact that we're still here. It's been 6 years almost, and we're alive, kicking, and we're just getting started.
Yep.
So this project, this is going to be a milestone. This is going to be something that we will certainly look back and remember. Hey, I remember when we kicked things into an even higher gear, and we got even more official, and maybe even started events in other games, which is part of our Azure Wings that we are eventually going to roll out. That's not going to be available exactly upon May 1st and 2nd. That kind of has to do with the fact that we have to find what we are calling wing commanders, which originally we called branch leaders. But that sounded a little bit more boring, so we were like, okay, so Azure Wings sounds like a really good name for these like branches that we want to do. But don't worry, those listening, I know that the majority of you are from our FF14 core, and we most certainly will not ever put 14 aside or nothing. Like just rest assured that 14 is our home. That is our home base. That is our main concern. The idea for Azure Wings is just to start a little bit of activity in other games and see what we can do about maybe having imagine play sessions in say Mondays at this time or Fridays at this time. We've got a group going into this maybe this shooter, and they all get up together and get some progress in another game and stuff like that. We kind of start growing as a overall community, rather than just being locked to 14. But rest assured, 14 is our main. That's our main thing for a very, very, very long time.
I also feel that that'll give us opportunities for to kind of curb burnout too. So
yes.
People know that they have a safe place to go, someplace else where it's still like-minded people and still the community they're familiar with, but being able to play something else keeps everything fresh, which is a good thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because you play the same game over and over again. I mean, now I haven't been doing MMOs for 30 years. I've been doing them for 24. My first was Ultima Online, and we've all burnt out of that in about 6 months. So we'd all take 6-7 months off and then come back, and then. So yeah, the burn. You have to watch burnout, and I think that's with this. I think that's going to do a lot to stem that tide.
Yeah, I mean, Azure Wings in general, like once we get things really going with that part of the project, just having that extra bit for people to log into another, say let's just take Monster Hunter World for example. Like that's our first officially established wing. It's not active right now. It's postponed. You can always find information on any updates regarding that in our announcements or on the new Azure Wings page, which is coming May 1st and 2nd on the new website. But with Monster Hunter World, for example, we actually got to the point where we filled our squad. We had 16 people. We had, the point where it was active enough to have several parties, almost as active as our events in 14. But, they're 4-man parties instead of 8-man, full parties. But basically, meeting up on Monday hunt-a-thons and smashing stuff, for each other, and catching other people up to the latest expansion, which is actually does not take that long in Monster Hunter to get through the base game. But that being sort of like our first experiment with this whole Azure Wings branch deal, it did actually give us a lot of motivation, I guess you could say, to actually do more with that, and then sort of see the community grow, more as a community, and like I said, not just as a free company, because we're so much more than a free company. And overall, we have a sort of idea. Not sure how many people know this, because it does require paying attention to a lot of the live letters and things, different interviews with Naoki Yoshida, producer of Final Fantasy 14. He's made a lot of comments on the life of 14, the length of what's left to expect out of 14's life cycle, and if you know how Final Fantasy 11's content pattern release, and then you've kind of gotten used to 14's content pattern, with all things considered, you can kind of guesstimate where exactly they're going to take it and how much longer. Yoshi's actually commented that Stormblood was the halfway point in the main narrative, which would pseudo make Shadowbringers the 75%-ish mark of the main narrative. But what he considers the main narrative is the Zodiark story, and in the lore and in the way that they tend to do things, they tend to set up these large things that you hear about early, and then you experience them way later, but they save them for expansions usually. And I don't know, personally, I'm seeing that pattern with Thavnaria, the New World, and Mericidia. Will we actually get there? I don't know, because they also have a way of telling you about things, and then they sum it up with one dungeon. Back in 2.0, we thought Zelfatol was going to be this great area we were going to go to and see the Exilium homeland.
Great.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and then
Nope.
we thought, it's north of Alamigo and Garabanias, or northwest slightly. We're definitely going to use Zelfatol as a place to, invade from the north or something when we fight the Garleans over Alamigo. And then it was one dungeon, and it wasn't even the very end of Heavensward either. So it was close.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
We should preface this by there could be spoilers here.
That is a very small spoiler. It's the name of a dungeon. It's a place that we can all see on the menus when people are in them. But if you know the lore, Zelfatol is a Ixali land, but yeah, if that disappoints you, don't worry. There is a lot of excitement in this game if you're not there yet. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put a slight spoiler warning on that.
See,
part,
I mean, you keep saying that you think Shadowbringers is more, or Stormblood was the halfway. I keep thinking Shadowbringers is.
Well, maybe it is.
I mean, I think it's now here comes the spoiler. We went from defending our own world to now defending another, and eventually we do have to come back, yes, but I see that as now, if you follow the way other games have played in Final Fantasy, you tend to follow that, and you end up going somewhere else, and then going somewhere else, and then going. So I kind of see maybe Shadowbringers as the halfway point.
Well, it could be halfway part 2. Maybe their halfway point is more than one expansion. I mean, that's a possibility as well. But at the same time, we are running out of bad guys, and slight spoiler, but not really. I'm not going to say who, but we're running out of certain bad guys. And on top of that, there was a comment. There has been stuff regarding the moon, if you know what the moon means.
Yes.
So if you're listening to the podcast, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a spoiler warning now that from here for a little bit, we are going to talk about some minor spoilers. But they're not things that are in the game yet, actually. They're just things that are in the lore. So in the lore, Zodiark literally is the moon. I actually looked it up the other day again in my encyclopedia, that Hydaelyn turned his whole body into the moon. So he is the moon. The moon, if you've played other games, has significance a lot in Final Fantasy, especially in 4.
Even back to the first one.
Yep. Yeah. It's got a lot of significance. And People have been asking, when are we going to the moon? When are we going to the moon? Because it's obvious that we're going to either go there or we're gonna have. There's gonna be something to do with the moon eventually, because it's Zodiark, and that is the de facto like main villain kind of question mark, even though it's the Ashians, sort of, because now we find out that they're not as evil as we thought. They're just extreme in their methods, which is one of the multifaceted aspects of seeing something as evil.
If you look at us, we're kind of the extreme on the other side, but
well, yeah. I mean, we saw the Warriors of Light and Shadowbringers, be treated as like the villains by the world that saw them as ushering in the not the calamity, but the flood of light and all that. But with us seeing Elidibus on the moon since like 2.0 days, we've known that the moon was coming. And Yoshi actually commented that somebody asked a question at last FanFest. They said, "Are we going to the moon in Shadowbringers?" And he said, "Not in this expansion." And it was really implied that it was coming next. And so
there you go. There's your
the energy is that 6.0 is sort of the end of the Ashian story, but it's not the end of the 14 story. It's the end of what Yoshi's been calling the main narrative. So in other interviews, he's actually commented that there's going to be post-main narratives. They're called post-narratives, and those post-narratives are probably, in my educated guess, I'm going to say that those post-narratives are going to deal with like the New World, because an entire huge continent full of things that most people in the rest of Heidelin don't know about is probably a great location for an expansion. It's probably a great, imagine an expansion that's like, after the whole darkness and Zodiark and, ominous bad guys in robes and everything like that. We have this like adventure expansion, that's like about exploration and everything new. That might be another really good
that would be nice
scapegoat segue sort of thing for them to make an expansion with like all new stuff that we've never seen before. So I could see that. I could see the New World being, and maybe Blue Mage will like finally be a normal job.
Wow, really?
Because New World.
They also opened up.
Sorry, go ahead.
And they also opened up quite a bit with the different shards that they're now introducing that we can go in. So we've obviously noticed that we're the central and we've only gone to the first. I mean, if we want to stick traditionally, should be either 6 or 7 other shards in there, and it just leaves so much.
I think there's 6.
For different other ways
I
that
think
we can
there's
go in
there.
6.
Yeah.
That's a lot of content.
Well, for following lore stuff, there's different.
Usually
there's World A, World B, World R.
Right.
And then there's like this other group of stuff, and there's each one of those has a crystal, and each one of those what is it? Each one of those has a set of crystals. It's this weird set of. I mean, I keep thinking World R.
6 crystals that bring light to an individual world.
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking that we're World R, but
yeah. Well, at this point, it is a little hard to tell. Personally, I don't think they're going to use any other of the shards. I think that the first was just enough to show us another world, and because the first was significant in being the latest thing that the Ashians were trying to throw at Zodiark. But I mean, if you think about it too, at a narrative standpoint, if we're like all said and done with Zodiark, I mean, there may or may not be a reason to care about these shards. And there's so much more in the source as well that we haven't even seen yet. They might even rejoin the other shards in at the end and say like, oh, Zodiark's at like 90%, and then we got to fight him. This is his 90% form. And then, say there's like another almost calamity or something. Or they could easily use those shards as expansion content. It's really hard to say, but all of those ideas are like really awesome, because there's just so much they can work with.
And it's not far-fetched either. I mean, anyone who's played through any more than 3 Final Fantasy games already knows that you're seeing things that exist. So, and it's...
And the other thing, possibly with having the shard, or having the different shards set up on there, could be bleeding in for the next new gen console MMO that they're going to be releasing for Final Fantasy as well, and setting it up off of a system and going, okay, so we're used to 14 being here, and that's this centered on this one. Now we're branching off over here. Our new MMO takes place in this region, and
Final
doing
Fantasy
some other
20.
things too.
Well,
So, you know, there could be a lot of spring off opportunity for a lot of the stuff that they're setting up.
that's very possible. They did actually comment on like making they didn't say what it was going to be. They didn't say it was going to be a mobile, but they did say they were making a side project that was Final Fantasy 14 based. So never know. But they did also comment that 14 they have no plans for an MMO other than 14. So they said that I think it was a couple months ago. They said like rest assured we're not in any shape to start another MMO and we have no plans.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
They need to incorporate Mobius a little bit more too.
looking at like
Oh, yeah.
what they have lined up in the next like decade, like I can't see it happening in the 20s, maybe the 30s. But let's get a little bit back to we were talking about the new project for Azure, and then we'll go from there and talk about some of the current content that's out and what we've been doing to lead events and how those are going. We talked about Azure Wings. Once we get a wing commander appointed to that, once we get one or two people, we want to look for people that actually have at least some basic knowledge of the game, enough to be able to group people, know how the game plays, and are at least moderately decent, and able to lead some folks into just making parties and getting regular activity. Consistency is a really big part. Once we have, once we have that, we will go ahead and probably make an announcement about the one of the wings coming back, unless we make a new one. We aren't done with Monster Hunter World. There is more content coming to that game. That game is extremely viable for stuff like this. So we're gonna try to hold on to that, and we already have our squad is still, it's still there. There's quite a bit of people that still play. Actually, just we don't have events running. So we're going to be making an announcement about that. Aside from that, there are some changes coming to our Discord. We are going to remove a few channels that just almost never have content in them, just to trim the list down a little bit. But there is going to be a couple new sections as well. We do plan on very soon releasing sort of a what are we calling it? Kind of like a help request channel. Something that kind of just if we see it light up, we'll be like, oh, okay, then there's a request in there for something. We're gonna see how that goes. That could go one of two ways. It could either become too heavily used and take away from the DMs that we kind of normally like to get from our members as far as reports go. I'm gonna make it very clear, like the channel isn't for reporting issues with other players. That's something you still want to make sure that you message the Azure Council about. It would be lieutenants and myself, unless you really need to let a scout know, and the scout can deliver the message to us in the council. That channel is mostly for like, hey, I'd really like this content done. I could really use a clear. I could really use a set of gear so I can get into the new content. And then we can see that, and then we can kind of mobilize, and then other people can see that too in case they want to help. And it'll just be kind of a really positive way to get more things accomplished for everybody in our community that posts there that has needs like that, and just get on top of those things quicker instead of just like waiting for a leader to just log in, or maybe you're on at the wrong time and nobody else is around that can help. Just maybe speed up that process. So besides that, changes to our Discord, I'm actually looking into a couple new bots. I don't have anything solid yet, so I don't have anything to tell you guys about that.
As long as it's named Harshafont, we're good.
But that would be interesting because we have a Merrick. We have a Merrick already, and he's been a decent guy. And
he's a bargain basement.
He has a lot of abilities that a lot of people don't know. If you Google Sir Americ, the bot for Discord, you can see the whole command list. I mean, one of my favorites, and something that tends to surprise people a lot, is the fact that you can actually research any market board item on any server right away from our Discord. You can just type in, you type in a command. I think it's like, I haven't used it in a while, so I admit I'm rusty with it, but it's really nice once you know the command. I think it's like /MB, and then you put server name or data center name, I think, and then you can put item, and it'll just give you a little list, and it says every server in our data center and what price that item's currently going for.
I think you can also search by individual server too.
Yeah, individual server too. And it's really helpful. I mean, imagine just like picking up your phone and just typing that in. And it's just right there. You don't have to go changing servers. Because I saw people this morning actually changing servers a bunch, and it was like, you know, taking a while for them to like get all the prices down. And I told them about this feature, and they were like very, very happy. But bots that we're looking for, I'm kind of just looking for anything else that just enhances our current Discord. Not something that we already have, like not something that Americ can already do. There's a couple Discords I joined to see how they run things, non-14 related, just other gaming communities. They have like bots that tend to help with the registration process, and it's really smooth. And I was like, ooh, that's really nice. That way, you know, it'll check if someone's like registered to a certain extent, and then give them the assigned role once it's confirmed.
See,
Oh,
that
that's
would
nice.
be that would
That'd
be
be
very
good.
That would
nice.
fantastically help.
Yeah, I think that's something like I'm gonna try to look into, and then I know there's a lot you can do with Discord, so I'm definitely gonna keep an eye out for more bots. At first, we weren't into bots because me personally, I was new to Discord when we opened our Discord in 2017, and I know it's 2020 now. It's time for me to get to the program, but I didn't know much about it, and I hadn't used one much or at all. And hearing about bots, I'm like, well, it doesn't sound like it's, you know, when you first hear the word bot, it doesn't sound legal, you know, usually. So
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you know, does this go against terms of service? And then I'm like, oh, Discord's pretty much made to have bots. So I'm like, well, okay, let's see what we can do to utilize, you know, those for the best for our community. Moving forward, other changes. Starting towards the end of this month, and then, but as of May 1st, what we would like is for new members to our Discord. You're going to see that when you join, you don't have a member rank. This is for folks that either hear this in the future or if you don't have it yet. Normally, we have sort of a mixed process of like confirming people. Either they're in our FC or they register to our website, and that's how we give Discord member, or the FC member rank, of course. And then if you join Monster Hunter, there's actually a couple that have joined in Monster Hunter that aren't a part of anything else, and they've got a Monster Hunter rank. And then we have the allied members, people from other free companies in Final Fantasy 14 that have allied with Azure. In those cases, we'll give them member rank. But what we're going to start doing is to make it a little easier for folks to get started in our Discord and have a little bit more permissions. We're giving out Discord member that's sort of our pseudo like overall universal rank for members of the community in general. Then if you're in 14 or Monster Hunter World, we'll assign you the correct one. But as of May 1st, new members need to register on our website. That's going to be the easiest universal way as we go forward to confirm, because we're going to start growing in different outlets, and it's going to get even more of a process for us to check all these different rosters and, you know, oh, are they on the PSN community? Are they in the website? Are they in this game? Are they in that game? So
Right.
we're just going to kind of start moving towards making sure that people register. And if you're registered at AzureInfinitum.com, sorry, a little tongue-tied, you're actually, you've got an entire, like, there's an entire new community site being made. So you've got access to, you know, our forums, all the services that are on there. You will be able to immediately be eligible for certain contests that we run. There's a lot of stuff we're designing now for people that are registered, as sort of not only just like an incentive, but also because, well, I mean, we do believe, like, you know, we do highly recommend that you should be registered. That way it gives us a chance to communicate more. We have a lot of stuff that we work on that we really want you guys to enjoy and see. So if you are registered at Azure, that there's so much that's coming. So we want to make sure that members are confirmed in our Discord. Plus, also having an open, what we call an open Discord. We have like this link that goes out on like a lot of our different social media, and technically anybody in the world can join that. On one hand, we want this to be able to get anybody that hears about Azure to be able to come in and see how we are. We had a member recently who just found us off the internet while Googling good gaming communities and free companies in 14. Found us, joined our Discord by just finding an open link, and then now is like working on server transferring to join our FC. like right now as we speak.
Oh,
actually.
yeah. I know what
Yeah.
you're
That's
talking
good.
Yeah.
about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And so we want more of that. But in order to have that, we have to leave it open. We don't have any other way of controlling that. So we leave it open, and then that sort of creates a way for people to join us. But then bots join. There's actually times that bots join. When bots join, that can be bad. So we don't want to immediately give all the permissions of membership to everybody that comes in automatically, because that would save us a lot of time, but it'd also be kind of lazy. So we want to make sure that we still have a way of confirmation. And right now we're choosing, to have people register on the site as that main confirmation. Plus, if you register on the site, you're going to be eligible for a legacy member. That as soon as you register, it gives us an idea of when you joined us, unless we have a note somewhere that you joined us before that. But if we have a spot that we can reference in our site membership for registration on there, then after 2 years, you will gain legacy member. And currently there's a little bit of, what's the word, like bonuses, I guess, in-game for legacy members. And then there's going to be more across the community as we go. That is in R&D right now. But definitely register at AzureInfinitum.com. The site right now is very limited. Keep in mind that it's going to be up and down over the next week. But by the time you hear this, it's going to be live and happening. So, real quickly here, a few other changes and updates that are coming. We are going to rework sort of the way that we use the fellowships in 14. Kind of abandoned that for a while. One, they are not like ridiculously popular, but they can still be used. The way that we use one of them is Azure Info Board. That actually gives us a chance to create a sort of like in-game sort of board for like, here's when this happens, here's when that happens. It's a tool that you can reference really easily to see what's going on at any time in Azure. We also have sort of like a recruitment one. Both of the rosters on those fellowships need to be cleansed. We kind of, like I said, we did kind of abandon them for a little bit. So if you've been wondering what's been going on with the fellowships, we haven't used them in a while, and they need to be cleaned out. Other than that, we do have a myriad of social media. We have the Azure Twitter, Instagram, Facebook group, Facebook page, Tumblr, PSN community, Steam group, and also we have those link shells, those nice little tools in game that we have set up for industry.
Yeah, I like the link shells.
Yeah,
those are very handy.
Yeah, the link shells are fantastic. Remind me at some point I need to get into the Steam group.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually not in it.
I was actually wondering about that. I'm like, Shalindra's on PC, and you're not in our Steam group.
I have Steam for some things, just not a lot.
Yeah, I'm not in the PSN group.
It's pretty easy to find. I mean, we can't link to the PSN group, but if you just go to your community's portal on PlayStation 4's dashboard, you can just search Azure Infinitum, and it should come right up. Speaking of which, our PSN community had to reboot at a certain point. We had a lovely situation where somebody decided to nuke it, but now it's actually like fully controlled by leadership now. So we already have about close to 40 people already back in there, and we're trying to keep it active. They actually just I mentioned this in our community update, the post we were talking about earlier. The PSN community app for phones, which didn't exist at first until people were like begging for it, and then it existed for a while, and you could post from your phone to the community. They just like nuked that, so now it doesn't exist anymore, and you can't post from your phone. So you have to be on the PS4 console. So when you could post from your phone, we were actually using it as a way to continue our regular social media updates, like some of our social media updates, into that community, so that people on PS4 could just see stuff like right away, instead of like getting on the site, any other sites or anything like that. So that was really convenient. Now it's a lot harder, so we might switch up sort of how we post on there. Stay tuned. We have, let's see here. We have a lot in this update. I don't think we actually have time to go over every single thing, but some of the other big things include brand new page called Azure Universe. Now, like, some people have wondered, well, you have the wings and you have the FF14 core. What is this Azure Universe? Well, to put it simply, it's actually a simple list that people can submit their details to if they play other games. So say that you have a game that you play with 3 or 4 other people in the FC, but it's not a wing, and you guys play like semi-regularly. If you're looking for other community members to join in with you, you can submit your details to Azure Universe, and it'll pop up and be a nice little directory for other members to say like, oh, hey, somebody submitted this. It shows that they play this game. And here's how to get involved.
Oh, hey, I play that game too. Hey,
Yeah.
there's other people that might want it. Yeah.
Exactly. And that is kind of like where we're going. Is we want to connect more people. We want our members to have just have these means. I mean, we're not going like gung ho on trying to like force activity into other games, but our idea is we want to provide like better means of just helping people connect, and it's actually really easy for what we're setting up with this new project. So Azure Universe content, or people that are meeting up in that forum, it may actually attract more people to their individual groups, and then those individual groups might actually have enough regular activity to submit an application to become a wing. And then if they become a wing, then that becomes a major official Azure weekly events. So that could go somewhere. We want to really give this a shot. So this is like the biggest shot that we've ever given it, and we're not looking to just like kind of just put this out there and then ignore it. We're really going to try to see how this can be utilized for the best content possible, best future for Azure, with creating these sort of like miniature I don't want to say mini guilds, but like collections of members playing together and better ways to connect people. Let's see. Other than that, we are going to have more social feeds on the website. So this is a chance for folks that may not use all of our different social medias to see what posts are going on. It's just kind of automatically show up. I run most of it. I try not to post the same thing at the same time on all the sites, but getting folks from those different arenas, because not everybody uses the same. Not everybody uses Facebook, not everybody uses Twitter, not everybody uses Instagram, etc. And what I'm trying to do is kind of mix it up. But we also want to feature stuff from the community, and then also want to make sure that each audience sees it. So right now it is kind of uniform in a way. You might see 1 or 2 of the same posts on one or another, but eventually you're going to see it all, kind of feed in to the same site. And the new mobile version of our main site is really nice. The shifter one we actually can't do anything about. We can't change that mobile version, unfortunately. But if you are on mobile and you're on our shifter, you can easily just go, scroll to the bottom and click View Desktop Version. So we're going to have a very detailed page about events, a How to Join page, Azure Calendar page. Actually, no, that's actually been included with the events page. I should take that off there because I actually worked those two together. Really nice Google Calendar I set up last night. It's interactive. You can follow it and get notifications. And then we have a couple of fine folks in our community that are actually working on a possible application for Azure that may also include these same features. So imagine just taking out your phone and going to the Azure app and checking the calendar. Really, really just expediting the process that people can find out about our events. So we're putting a lot into this. Lots of other features are coming. You can find the whole lineup on the Azure Community Update. Like I said, the link will be here if you haven't checked it already. You can also find it in our announcements channel. Okay, let's move on from that for now. I think there's a lot to look forward to. You are all going to see a lot of updates come in the near future. I mean, with everything launching on the 1st and 2nd, and just everything else that is going to roll out across May, this is probably going to be the most like info news announcement heavy month of all time. We will be updating quite frequently, and then you're going to see sort of a surge in activity from this point. We're really confident about this. If you're one of those that pays attention to our rankings, have you guys checked out our rankings recently on Lodestone?
Not recently, no.
Okay. Well, since launch patch 5.2, which we're getting ready to talk about a little bit more in depth, there has been a surge in everybody's activity because new entitlements came out. That's two new tabs for the company chest. First ever time that they've did, as far as I know. I mean, I've been there since launch, but I don't ever remember a time that they added new entitlements. So I'm pretty sure that's the first time ever, because FCs have had rank 8 as the cap for as far back as I can remember, and that was launch. So unless I am wrong on that, this is the first time they've ever added new entitlements. So everybody and their brother's, grandma's, dog's cousin is like trying to boost their FCs to get these new entitlements, and that requires a lot of credits. And credits are generated by mostly activity, but also heavily by company seals. So if you turn in stuff for seals, you're going to really boost your company credits. And I mean a lot of stuff, though.
If you've got junk that you're no longer using anymore,
yeah,
you know, spring cleaning time to clean up those retainers and.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, I wouldn't not recommend you to do that and even help us out, because a lot of seals, it translates to a lot of credits, and those credits go into lodestone credits. Lodestone credits also put up our ranking. Often I always tell the community, it's not about the rankings. You know, we don't focus on that entirely. We're by no means are we elitists, but they are really nice to pay attention to, and we do use the rankings on lodestone to kind of gauge the activity in our community. You know, weeklies, those go up and down. They fluctuate quite a lot. They're not always the best representation. Monthlies show how long a percentage of the time that, and a percentage of the higher spots that a community has maintained over a whole month. And to us, that's kind of always been more like the real, you know, the really good one to pay attention to.
Well, that's a better gauge anyway.
Yeah. But right now, everything's all over the place. And it kind of reminds me of Heavensward launch. Heavensward launch, there was like, you know, the first expansion ever. There was, I mean, I know there's more people playing today, but back then, things were just sporadic in the rankings. They were all over the place. Stormblood was kind of the same, but we weathered it really, really well. We hardly budged at all. I think we went from like 1 to 2 and back to 1, because we're usually all the way up at the top. Right now, they are all over the place. So don't judge those lodestone rankings based on what activity you might, you know, if you think things are slower. It might really just be because everybody's boosting. I'm seeing a lot of other FCs going like all over the place right now. So I'd give it another month maybe and see how that goes. One of the other things too is like when we are higher up in the rankings, we do actually see a lot of folks that the type of recruits that are really interested in joining an active FC, the ones that kind of put more time into searching for a good community, will also see us in the rankings and join us. So that's another benefit to us being up there as well. But other than that, 5.2 has been something else. 5.25 just launched. We have some starting new relics. Have you guys all gotten new weapons?
I got mine.
Got 5 of them now.
Which
Both
ones?
of mine for my 80.
I went after the Scholar, Summoner, and Paladin.
I have 5 now. I have Red Mage, White Mage, Black Mage, Dragoon, and Paladin.
Nice.
You need something to spend.
What was that, Pen?
Oh yeah. I said I've got the Gunbreaker Dancer, and then I've got I'm working on the Sky Builders for my Blacksmith.
Oh, nice.
Carpet.
I haven't gotten to the Skybringers, Sky Builders yet. Skybringers. The Sky Builders one.
Yeah, the last build for it was pretty intense. I'm still working on getting a good rotation down so I can high quality. So
nice.
I recommend everybody get some. I mean, it's an eye level 385 with 5 slots that you don't have to overslot.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to overmeld.
I think Stefan went after the Bard one.
Yeah, I got the Bard, but I found that the Eden weapon's slightly better, just slightly, to me, as far as a recommendation that the game tells you.
So since the last episode, since episode 2, 5.1 has all come out, and that was really interesting. And the rest of the first Eden raids came out. We saw high activity and weekly events. We haven't had a single week fail at all. We've had big parties, grouping, and even when we get down to having one.
Exactly.
Well, we haven't had a time.
First week.
We haven't run it. Right.
Oh no, yeah. We run it every week.
Yeah.
But the very first week, that was a learning week. We did not go through all content
For 5.2.
for
the first set.
Yeah.
That was our third week. That was our third week because our first week we had 6 8-man parties. If you know if you remember what I.
Oh, you're talking about Eden 1.
Eden 1, yeah.
Eden 1.
Oh, okay.
The first.
Oh, I was talking about Eden 5.
Oh. Okay, so for 5.2, for 5.2, well, I mean, look at.
We were undergeared. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
Look at the craziness that came out, though. I mean, we've got that crazy Garuda Ifrit one that was.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely bananas at eye level.
Oh yeah, I did that 21 times that one night.
It's still bananas. Even at 483, it's bananas.
Well, I feel like they're significantly easier now on, well, I mean, it's Eden Tuesday. We've been getting those down in about an hour 20. No wipe run.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Even the pugs, if we're short a man and we pug the last position or something like that, it's been going smoothly lately.
So I think
we're all geared up.
At week 10 or 11 now, I think.
I think it's 11.
Are we 11? How many?
I think it's 11.
Is there anybody here that's gotten those golden blades like every single week and not missed one? Do you remember how many you have?
I got it on all 7 weeks. The first 7 weeks.
I have 6.
I need one or two more to get my first Eden.
I've only missed like one blade, I think, but
I need one blade.
But I think it's week 11. I think 11 or I might be off on that. Those listening, but in any case, we're a couple months into 5.2 now, so we've definitely seen a big increase in survivability during these raids, and I think that is like just a testament to how we get stronger every week. We group up, several parties, 1 to 2, depending on attendance. We'll go out and we'll run these and we'll clear them. Newcomers are always welcome. It is not hard for us to bring in newcomers. I mean, we will take the time with you. We'll explain. If people have to wait like 5 minutes for us to make sure that what's going on, we'll take that time. We'll make sure that anybody that is new to content is not intimidated by it, because we're comrades here and we're going to get you through.
Absolutely.
Savage can't say anything about that. we don't do that officially as a community. A lot of people ask that.
I'm too old and slow for Savage.
I only know of three people right now who've been through all of Savage with it, and oh my god, the stories I've heard,
especially the current stuff in Savage, it's pretty insane. But I mean, Savage is usually pretty crazy. But don't be disheartened, folks that are listening. We will support and provide the means to hold it static. It's just that officially as leadership here, we don't have what it would take for us is it would take one of our leadership team, and it would really have to be somebody like in the council. I don't think we could do this with a scout. No offense to our scouts, but we need somebody that's on a leadership level who also has a lot of dedication, consistency, thick skin, just everything you need to be a hardened raid leader for something like Savage, and then be able to pull that together every single week on a weekly basis, and then keep people, from arguing because you never know. Best friends could join static and tensions, get up there, and it's there's a lot to consider in that sort of content. Yeah.
Actually, I can actually think of 2 scouts that we have right now that could probably do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because he's been, and both of them have been. One of them helped me Friday. Yeah. With Memoria EX, Shamfam, absolutely. No question. He goes through. He will do it with pugs. He will learn. He learns every piece of the fight. I mean, I'm pretty sure that once he gets further and definitely. I mean, like I said, I can think of 2 scouts right now.
Well, see, the reason why I said council though is only because I want to make sure that if there's necessary needs for problem solving because of how intense these things can get, that's the only reason why why I said
Well,
that.
I'd go along. I
Wasn't
mean,
right? Well,
I'd go along for this one. I mean, heck.
right. But but that was that was just generalizing.
Yeah.
But we, like I said, newcomers are always welcome to our events. That goes for any of them. Currently, we are running Monstrous Mondays, Features, Ruby X. That is our day for trials. That is our day
And we've
for learning
still never completed
and progression. That's okay because it's learning and progression.
We've gotten to phase 2 at least a couple times now.
The idea is to run it, die a lot, learn, and then if you do complete it with us, that's great. If you go out and there's folks that I know that have completed it elsewhere, but at least come to learn the fight, have some fun, have some laughs. We do 2 full instances. That usually takes up roughly 2 hours, and it's just something that we do every Monday to get people into the content. And then, like I said, if they want to get it clear with us and stay for that, that's great. Or if they want to just learn it with us and then go do stuff outside of the event, more power to you. Just just remember our learning parties. You will die. You will die, and that is the point.
I make a very pretty corpse, and I say that every week.
Yep, that you do. And so the other learning and progression thing that we just started is now on Friday. Brand new event, Memoria Misera, or Memoria Misera, I think, EX. This requires you to get through the patch 5.25 content, which released the new relics. So you have to go through the little story mode with that, go through a really interesting zone that they created, and then get through some of the fights in there, and then there's a there's a trial, and you get through that trial, you go through the other quests, and you get Memoria Misera X. Now that fight is something else. Shal, you went through that on Friday.
We went through it. Yeah, we went through it Friday.
I was supposed to be there. I couldn't make it. Tell us a little bit about that on Friday.
Well, Shams went through it a few times, so I had him do call-outs for it because I hadn't even been in there yet. It is something else. It's getting from phase 1 to phase 2 is short. I mean, remember, I think I mentioned that there were caveats to getting to phase 2. Mm-hmm. It's short to get to phase 2. It's just very mechanic heavy. It's not as mechanic heavy as Ruby is. It's mechanic heavy in a very different way. We had a great time. I mean, we had one full group of 8 that went, and a lot of progression. Getting through. I mean, we died. We had tracked our time in just to see how we were doing with it. The first 3 times in, we spent about a minute and a half before we were all just wiped.
Oh yeah, I mean,
we wiped after about a minute, and it was just brutal.
It can be pretty brutal.
We were getting to phase 2 about 5 or 6 times in, and I mean, but that's only 7 minutes in the fight.
So day 1 when it launched, Troa and I stepped in to check it out, and holy crap! I mean, there was a couple of mechanics that wipe you within the first 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. And I don't know since if it's becoming easier based on people getting used to it or whatnot.
I think it's. I know Sham's been through it.
Oh yeah, he's.
God, I want to say 11, 12, 13 times, so he knows.
Last
the
time
fight.
that I saw him talk about it, he said he had been through it 8 times. So.
I think the last time when we did it Friday, I think he was up to 11, and I think he's actually completed it twice, 2 or 3.
How many times has Troa been through it now?
Oh,
God, I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it.
He has a way of going into things and then just clearing them. I remember when Hades X came out. He's like, I'm going to try Hades X, and he went in, came out with the sword and shield while we were just still grouping. I was like, holy cow!
Yeah.
So Shal and I were talking. That's one of the things that we love about grouping with Troa. Is because he has excuse me some of those challenges that he deals with in his daily life. Mm-hmm. It puts him in that mental where he's able to go in and see something once or twice, and he's got it memorized. He can see patterns, he can see all these things, and he just picks it out, and it's amazing.
Yeah, he has fantastic memorization, and
and we watch it and we're going, why can't my memory be like that anymore?
I think it's memorized.
It's just all of a sudden, that split second, he moves, and it's just what?
Yeah. It is something else. Another big reason why we wanted to start doing this right away, not just to have something that's like fresh new content for the FC, but also to get it kind of in the oven, get it cooking, get it kind of in people's, start developing people's muscle memory and getting them learning, because hopefully, what we're hoping is that the gear obtained from there will continue to be like upgradable, that it'll continue to evolve alongside the weapons. And if that's the case, and this trial does get a little easier, with gear increases in time and experience, we'll get it to the point where it's not like, as quick as like Wondrous Tales, for example, but to a point where we run in, we go, we do it, we get some gear for people, and then, every week we do that. Maybe 5.3, it'll be a little easier by then, 5.4, or at least
I'm
to the
thinking
point
5.3.
where
Definitely
it kind of
5.3.
like, you know how with Eureka, for example, like we had a very big Eureka project. We ran Eureka for, I know you guys hear me say this all the time, but for our listeners, we ran a Eureka project for 16 entire months when the content came out 2 years ago, and we took that to each step of the way. Now in Shadowbringers, Shao here actually started a second invasion of Eureka, but what made me bring that up is Eureka Animos was, that's the entry point to Eureka. So what that became over time was like the easiest of the entire batch to actually get in, group up in, and get people started on. And that seems to be like, maybe, if that's the case with Memoria, but as a trial, that might be something that eventually we can just go, okay, let's go to Memoria, let's get your starting upgrades, and then, that'll be something nice we can do for folks that are starting that grind.
Yeah,
Eventually,
I
but
mean,
right now it's where it starts. Getting used to it.
yeah, that grind is not fun.
Both Memoria,
it's worth it over the long run.
Both Memoria, Ruby, pretty much everything we have right now is going to be current until 5.3. Yoshi commented on 5.3 recently, saying that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they are a little slower on developing content for 5.3. They said that it has impeded a lot of their projects. Yep.
I'm going to say most of the devs are probably working at home.
They are. They are working at home.
It's not.
Yeah. To do the live letter, the recent live letter, they had to figure something out and do it in a location that they did similar to an older live letter from a long time ago, just to sort of still find a way to be together in a very small group and still record somehow. They're pulling that off. They are also finding other ways, to continue to work from home. But he said that he doesn't imagine 5.3 is going to be on time, but it's not going to be horribly late. So the idea right now is sort of a window, and that window is, if I remember correctly, somewhere in like June, because it was supposed to be like a late May thing, but it's probably going to be like a mid to late June thing, maybe even early July.
That's not
too bad.
Late.
It's not that bad, but it is pushing their content release pattern outward a little bit. But then again, we got to remember that the gap between 3.0 and 3.1 was almost 7 months.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I remember it being like December. We were getting the first patch after Heaven's Word launched in June. So, because those guys took us like a 6-month vacation. They worked really hard.
Well, I was going to say they needed it.
They were making everything brand new back then after Realm Reborn, was done and Heaven's Word came out, and that was they pulled the entire Heaven's Word expansion, which was the size of a Realm Reborn, just set on top of a game already. An expansion the size of the present game put on top, pulled that out of the hat, within under 2 years, and just I can't even imagine how hard they were working. But going back to 5.2.
Well, I remember we got 3.1, 3.2 relatively quickly together.
Yes, we did get them.
We got 3.1, and then like what, a month and a half, like 2 months later,
3 month gaps.
2.5 months later, we got 3.1. So,
the current set of events that we have, those are all going to run until 5.3. After 5.3, we are retiring Azure Eden Tuesdays, postponing it. We are postponing Azure Eden Tuesdays as of 5.3 until 5.4. that's when the next set comes out. Just in case if you don't know about the content release pattern, there's always a pattern to this every single expansion set. So what we can expect in 5.3 is to return to the near raids. So when we do that, we're going to keep doing Memoria Misera because we're expecting every patch to have another set of relics. So we're actually going to start 24-man Tuesdays. And I think that's actually going to be something that might be cool to test, because we've never tried to do a 24-man on the day that the server resets. We've always done it on Friday after a lot of people have already gone and done it for the week, but they still come anyway, and we still usually get a full alliance.
Right.
But we want to see how that works. We want to see how that goes. 24-man Tuesdays in 5.3. That's a ways away. What isn't a ways away is the rest of what we're doing right now. Stefan, you are like a driving force in our Eden runs. Do you want to talk a little bit about how those have been going?
Sure. Actually, as we get further in the weeks of the Eden runs, we're actually, while people are getting geared better, they're actually going smoother sometimes. This past week, our Eden 6 was Terry. Our scout, he's captain now.
Scout captain.
Captain now.
Yep.
Yeah, scout captain saved our group. He was the last man standing and killed the boss.
Gotta love those clutch wins.
Yeah. What happened was, okay, I'm leading. I do the call outs for the raids for the group, and it's okay. LB, for to kill, to hit the DPS LB. We LB right after it goes. The boss is still alive, and he does a mechanic, and 6 people die. And the two people left are tanks. One Terry's the pally, and I think it was Serafina. I think it was Serafina. She was the tank. She lasted as long as she could, but Terry saved the day on it. So even though we're further in, things do kind of do hiccups there. But overall, we one shot at everything that time. But we also do for new people, don't be scared. Come in. We have people that help you, especially in the group I'm in that I lead. I'm constantly getting heads up, and I'm constantly talking and giving you heads up for future things that are about to happen, or heads up about keep an eye on this one on the next phase. And I also do this for Sunday. We do the Eden Raid catch-up for people who failed to, because of circumstances, couldn't get do on Tuesdays or we do it on Sunday. I believe it's 4:30 Central. Yeah, it's 5:30. 5:30 Eastern.
Yeah, 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern, and 4:30 Central.
4:30
for
Central.
Eden catch-ups and what we call loot finisher, which is it's not a loot grind, it's loot finisher. So it, like Stefan said, one final FC run that's hosted officially on Sundays, just in case you miss our Azure Eden Tuesdays for another shot at loot weekly drops.
We usually do it for like this one time. Members of Russia did not have the opportunity to do it, and so we had several people. We had practically a full group. We had to pug one DPS, and everybody came. Oh yeah, I've already done it, but I can come and help. And so we had a lot of people that came and helped, and that was the catch up, the Eden 6 issue with Terry. That's one we almost wiped. But and new people that haven't done it, if you miss it on Tuesday, Sunday afternoon's perfect time. We take everybody and we teach it, and of course you have to take time to unlock each Eden. We take time. We wait on you.
We do wait for unlocks.
And if you, especially if you're new, you haven't seen it, we encourage you to watch the cutscene. We just sit there and wait. And so it's a lot of fun. We do that. But when this the next patch comes out, and what happens, the reason why is Eden stuff's going we're not going to do it because they become unlocked, which means you can do it multiple times and you can gather all the gear.
They go into a farm status basically.
Yeah. And when that happens, we drop the Sunday event. But it's been pretty good. One thing, I have several people contact me. One of the standard for my group, when I lead it, in anything, we have the LB thing, and I kind of keep it for let our healers decide to use it for LB res, in
Right,
case
right.
Yeah, I know, and a lot of people who do savages or in their static groups, they do it early to go ahead and hurry up
Store
and
up another
DPS.
one really quick or something.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that. But the that's fine, Danny. But see, when the groups we lead,
that's a static though.
yeah, that's a stack.
Yeah,
We have different people every week. No two groups are the same every week, and some people are new, some are veterans, some are kind of in between, which is fine. But we have to kind of reserve those LBs for oh my God, we just like we we did LB great correctly, but then we almost died that time. So stuff like this for old crap moments.
yeah.
But yeah, when you get into statics, I can understand people they do that. They know that they know the fights and all that. But for our normal groups, yeah, we kind of keep the LBs for reses. But then if we still are there 5%, we do the normal LB and kill the boss right away. So, but yeah, been going right.
Yeah, there's been times, when we're running groups in 14 that the limit breaks are just really important for us to keep into a certain point. The folks that are in charge of leading events do have experience and have seen a lot of times when the LB does get wasted, and then the limit break will get wasted, and then we've got a wipe on our near wipe on our hands, and then we wipe because we have a healer alive who could have limit breaked, and then we have to start all over, and it's time consuming, and a lot of people want to make sure that we get this content done, get the event done, and move
Yeah,
forward.
that's
I
my
mean,
goal.
we're not like in a rush per se, but we're also trying not to take too long, and so it adds a whole nother 10-15 minutes on top of what wouldn't have had to happen if it gets wasted. So well, just like what Stefan's saying is we ask folks save the LBs, and then at a certain point we'll call for it, and we'll finish off the bosses with them.
Now there's a couple. Now there is a one in Eden 7. I do use the LB on the ads. That's the only reason. Right. And it's only about a mark and a half. And the reason is if you don't kill the ads, you wipe. So that's a wipe prevention issue. And but also,
well, that also too is also depending on what kind of party we have too.
True,
because we've had some where we haven't used it. We've had some where we have. So
right, but I use it as a rule. I use it every time because I don't know the makeup and the experience of it. It's different every week.
Right.
But also Eden 8, we also use we save the LB for when the boss goes into the enrage. That's when we go ahead and LB. So go ahead and burn it down quick.
Right.
If we still have it, a lot of times, there's been a couple times where we had the LB res before the enrage, which is fine.
Yeah. Well, other than that, I mean, with all those things considered, Eden has been going pretty well. We took it on when it was brand new. We do day one events here usually for the 8-man raids. Eden's Verse is the name of the second set of Eden raids for patch 5.2 and for Shadowbringers. This is the 8-man raiding series. In Final Fantasy 14, they have 2 installments. There's the normal, and then there's the what we call Savage. So when you hear us referring to Savage, it's a much higher end version that's supremely optional. And then what we do is we support the the normal weekly clears that are still very, very, very much needed by a huge portion of the community and just about everybody that's at max level. For weekly drops that help you get I-490 weapons and other drops for I-480 gear. So moving on from there, Shao, how's Wondrous Tales been going? Wondrous Wednesdays.
Pretty consistent with one group. Usually, lately we've been getting one group, and we'll have 1 or 2 waiting. Last week was actually pretty good. We had 13. Finally getting a backup sort of trained, just in case I'm not around.
Of course.
Second group,
and
I applaud Nora for that.
Nora's good.
Kind of threw her into the fire for that. But basically with Wondrous Tales, it's that wonderful storybook that gets a lot I mean, it's a great way to get the older content. It's a great way to get through. A lot of
Right.
us are using it for poetic farms now. We're even getting people through content if they haven't been through. It's not like Friday Morning Classics was. We don't go through each one of the coils of Bahamut. We don't go through each phase
Right.
of
Right.
Alexander. We don't go through that.
Well, traditionally, Wondrous
Um,
Tales does, kind of it starts off
it's
with ARR, does a little bit of Heavensward, and depending on the group,
yeah,
we'll do some of the older raids. This is
yeah.
another event of ours in 14 that is really good for helping clear older content, as well as helping with these Wondrous Tales stickers.
Yeah, and we've been doing the Coils of Bahamut first, only because that way we can get all the unlocks out of the way for that.
Yeah, and there's only a couple of
Easy
those.
poetics. There's
You
only
wanna
a few.
do.
We only do a
Yeah.
few. I think at most we'll
Mhm.
do, if everybody has a different thing in the book, we'll do 8.
Right. Right.
Generally, we've been getting 4
Right.
because a lot of them have been overlapping now. It's been that way with
Yeah. And
Alexander now too.
what's really nice too is they update the rewards for those like just about every
Yes,
patch. And there's some really
yes.
nice stuff. You can win 1,000,000 MGP. There's rare minions and
Minions
crazy
with
gear you can have
poetics.
a chance at
You can
getting.
get allegory with it. It's even,
Yeah.
well, what's in the book also depends on where you are in the MSQ as well. Because one of our members that goes is Glitch. And we've been watching her
Hmm.
progression with the book of what she's been getting as the book's been going.
Uh huh.
It's now that she's in Shadowbringers,
Uh huh.
she now can get allegory
Yeah.
and that stuff. So it's a very different, it's a very different feel.
Right. Right.
But and we didn't get
Yeah.
lucky last week. We had to do nail because damn it,
Oh yeah.
three of us had it in the book,
Good
and I
old
was like,
tier 9.
shh,
Uh,
I
so
hate that fight.
if you're interested in joining
Um,
for Wondrous
eh,
Tales, though, just let me say this real quick,
yeah,
folks that are listening. Wondrous Tales. This is actually one of our weekly events that you can join in at 50. Technically, if you are at 50 and you've unlocked the first EX trials, you're welcome to attend here at this event to get those out of the way. These days, we can unsync them and kill them within like 10 seconds. Sometimes it just
I
depends.
I do have an official spreadsheet that I've
Uh-huh.
been keeping for the last 8.5 months since I started running the event back in August,
August.
July,
I believe
August.
I believe it was August. Yeah.
I think it was August. Well, it
Uh-huh.
might have been end of July. I can't remember. But I have an official spreadsheet where I actually keep track of the Azure records for how quickly we've called it Primal Assault
That's
Night.
awesome.
We call it Primal Slaughter. We've called it Shenanigans. But I actually have a spreadsheet with
Uh-huh.
some of some of the records that we've had with how quickly we can just
Okay.
slaughter things. Um, but no, we've actually been getting further in content. We've actually managed now to get through some of Omega, believe it or not,
Yeah,
which is something we didn't think
that's
that we were
amazing
going
for
to.
Wondrous Wednesday nights. That's
We've gotten through some of Omega now, and some of it's been for some clears
Mhm.
for some
I've
people.
actually seen a few
Some
people
of it's
that
been
I've never seen in Omega or in the Scapes before that are in there for
Mhm.
Wondrous Tales.
Yeah,
So that is all going really splendidly. It's really
and
nice to
that
see
week,
Wondrous Tales
and
so
y- and
alive.
we've gotten people with new content like you, because you'd never been through Nidhogg
Oh,
EX.
Nidha X, yeah. For all these years, I just happened
Hmm.
to have not gone into Nid X, and then
And
that one night happened, and it was pretty fantastic.
yeah, and it was just and
Another
your reaction, and a lot of it is the new people
memorable
getting to EX
clutch victory there.
because you can run everything without the EX content. Let me just say that for everybody. You can run everything without
Right,
the EX
of course,
content.
of course.
But the first time you see it, because you'll see different look, a
Hmm.
different
Hmm.
phase, a different something. It's you'll see a lot of people go, "Wow, well, why did I not touch this?"
Hmm.
And
Oh,
that's one of the reasons
definitely, yeah,
and that's one of the
yeah,
reasons with Bahamut too. It's they'll see it and go,
definitely.
"Wow, this is really old," and I can't imagine. We'll do tier 2, and for those it's first coil 2. They'll go, "Wow, you okay? So what does all the ticks need? What
Yeah,
what's the tick mean?" It's like, well, if you don't get there by time. the last boss is so hard, you might as well just wipe it and start over.
And trying these
Just
out does
content.
open you up to a lot of like mechanics you may not see if you just always do the normal.
Yeah.
But we understand that like EX and Savage and all these things may not be for everybody. But if you give some of our events a shot that do run some of them, you might sort of discover a wider world of things that are enjoyable with a group, especially groups that we run here in Azure Infinitum. And nights like Wondrous Wednesday nights. That's another good one you can get involved with right at 50.
As soon as you get 50 and you have your first EX unlocked, you're welcome to come along.
You can't get the journals until 60. Yeah.
That's 60 and most of the way through the MSQ. But
but you don't
we tailor to you guys. We tailor to it. I mean, I've got a set pattern of what I do, but we tailor to anything else. I mean, we've done 50 maps, 60 maps just to get the portals because 3 or 4 people have had them in the book, so we'd go out and get a bunch of 60 maps. And we've done 60 maps before for Wondrous Tales because that's what people had, and we went through everything in 21 minutes, and it was like, okay, now what? So I mean, we'll tailor as we go for it. So
and there's a side benefit to this also. If you do all these different duties and events and all the Wondrous Tales, you'll see all the different mechanics that you'll never see before. All of a sudden, as you get further on, you go into new content. Wait a minute, I've seen this mechanic type before.
Yep.
And so it gets you exposed.
Definitely, yeah, that is a really good point.
To the mechanics.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of newer mechanics.
So overall, as a player, your experience is like going up.
Yeah, Square Enix tends to reuse mechanics.
Yep.
if people haven't realized, they'll use a mechanic in a new way.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a good way to see some of the mechanics that you'll definitely.
Hey, I'm a software engineer. Why reinvent the wheel when you can reuse old code?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely.
True. I highly agree with that. So moving forward here, we have a little bit of time left. We gotta wrap this up in about 15, 17 more minutes. But just wanted to go over, we also do have an event on Thursday. It is our longest running event, Treasure Thursdays. Bring up to 3 Time-Worn Zoner skin maps. That's the level 80 Shatterbringers maps. Maps are fantastic. One of our most popular events ever. Usually running 1 to 2-ish groups, maybe more depending on attendance. But our groups focus on running 3 rounds of these maps. It's like a traditional X marks the spot little mini game. You go there, you kill the mobs, you get a chance at a portal. The portal might lead you to a place that's got kind of a mini game of doors that all have chances of either opening further or kicking you out with rewards that double and triple as you go. Lots of fun, lots of in-game currencies. Materials, things. A lot of people have a really good time, and then what we do is it doubles as a fundraiser for the FC. So every week, that is not the first Thursday. The first Thursday is like a free day, but every other week, what we do is we have a tracker in the party that will track the regular encounter drop gil, and then we give out little invoices depending on how long you were in the party. Which depends on how much gil you receive from the normal encounters, and then we'll give you an invoice to donate to the chest. 50% of that, which goes towards funding our upcoming events like Azure Day Weekend coming May 30th and 31st. That's where we shower the community with like tons of prizes and loot and stuff, and it's a fantastic weekend to also get involved and make some memories. But during those Treasure Thursday map nights, that's where a lot of that funding does come from, especially like when we're running raids and somebody needs 1 piece of gear to get them in, and then they're golden. We might also take from chest funds to do that if there's not any like good crafters nearby or somebody that can whip it up real fast. And a lot of times we have members that are so nice they just buy them the piece right away, or we will as leaders. It just depends on who's there, what's needed, and who has the means and whatnot. But map nights, I can't recommend it enough for it to get involved. People hit jackpots.
Chance to get rich.
I mean, Stefan, didn't you get like tons of those leathers that got you like 30 mil
those
or something?
Shell. I got lucky and got a shell leather drop from a chest within the portal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we made it to one of the doors where I opened the chest. It's my map, so I get the loot. Of course, the gil is shared, but I got the high-low card game.
Ah, yes, the Gambler's Lure. Little
Yes,
mini game. You pick high and low, and
and
then it
it just
you go
happened
up to 5 times the
that the
loot.
shell leather was one of the prizes in the high low.
So
And of
lucky.
course, if you need to guess, what you get to guess, it's kind of one card flips over,
Hmm.
and it's like 1 through 9, and if it's a high card, very high card, then well, I need to pick a low card, and so it happened like 4 times in a row. I think I went 4 times.
Hmm.
I was able to pick the correct card combination, so I got 5 shell leathers on that one. So I wind up after taking my material that I won that night, uh,
Hmm.
and selling it, and I got over 10 million gil over it.
That's incredible.
Now, now, just a
Yeah.
few weeks after that, we as a group, we had one of our most successful Thursday nights, and I think everybody was getting a portal, and inside the portal we were getting the extra mobs. There's the little dungeon crew guy,
Yep.
the little tricksters that drop extra stuff, and almost every one of them were getting 2 or 3 of these per portal. And we wind up, get this, our donation for every member to donate to the FC that night was 300K of gil. That means every
Mhm.
member made 600K.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
every member got to keep 300K. Then whatever material they got through their
Also
maps
got to
or
keep.
through other,
Yeah.
they got to keep that, and they sold that. So we had a full
Really
group of
killed it
8.
that night. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a full group of 8. I think that was the highest
Yeah. And see, every week
donation.
there's times like that are possible, and
Oh yeah,
you never know what you're going to get at map night. And even if it's like lesser luck, you still leave with something. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's
oh
just
yeah.
a couple hours.
Even if you go and buy all 3 maps, you still make more money guild drop
Oh yeah, even
to
with the
make up
donation
for it. Yeah,
or
even
the
with the
invoice.
donation.
Yeah.
But one thing is though, the very first Thursday of the month is free. We don't
Mhm.
do any donations, so
Yeah.
we get a lot of
So you get-
participation during that time.
Yeah. So even more so in the making gil for you. Donations are optional on that day, so it is a
Yes,
free day.
yes.
But there are people that still want to donate to the FC,
Yes.
so we have consistent fundraising. And to be honest, we really need it. Right now we're sitting around 83 mil in 14 as for our community. But the thing is Azure Day funding is usually 30 to 40 mil for the biggest Azure Days. So if
Minimum.
yeah, minimum. So if you can, and that's with donated prizes already in the prize pool too, because we usually have to buy extra, or we have guild prizes that are pretty big. And there was like one Azure Day. We did scale that back a little bit, but having that consistent funding helps a lot because it allows us to do a lot for the FC, and then we make some back off of the auction, and then it allows us to have to fund the next one, and then we build up in map funding to the next one. So we have a really good system for funding Azure Day, and that's why Treasure Thursdays is it's there to help fund us. It's an event where everyone wins. I mean, you walk out with more than you always
Yes.
walk out with way more than what you even have
Oh
to
yes.
donate. The donation thing is it's like change compared to the rest. I mean, you could make $1 million and donate like 150K. So
And then all of your items that you sell later on.
that too.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So it's a
and
really
we
good
have a
deal.
good time, and we have a good time during. We discuss like the merits of pineapple on pizza, which I think is
Oh
great.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mass
yeah,
Effect.
it's a
Screw that.
we talked
Let's go to
about Mass
Mass
Effect during. Yeah, we talked about and so as we're doing this, we're just kind of having a party, camaraderie. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the spirit we try to include with a lot of events, except for like some of the more serious rating segments where we need people to focus.
Yes.
But other times, we're a fun bunch. I like to think we're a fun bunch.
Have fun and make
We
money.
can let our hair down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since we have a few minutes left, what have you guys been playing lately? Besides
Mass Effect.
14.
Well, Mass Effect. I finally have gone through. I'm back into MEA again. I've gone through the entire trilogy in a matter of a week and a half.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also know what I'm doing.
And that's not your first time. That's just
God,
going
no,
through it
20,
again.
25,
yeah.
30, 35.
Yeah, we're I know Shal and I are both big Mass Effect fans.
I think we've gotten
I'm a big
cheesy
too.
into it.
You are? Oh
finally.
yeah, Stefan.
So.
Stefan too.
Oh, my favorite series.
Yeah.
And
But
Mass Effect 2 is
I'm
the
back
best.
into.
It's actually my
I'm back
second favorite next to Final Fantasy.
I'm back into MEA, so
Yeah, nice.
and it's not as big a shit show as it was. But I'm actually doing now. I've been seeing it on ESPN2 and all that. I've actually started going into iRacing.
Oh, interesting.
It's real time racing with real people, and the graphics are just absolutely incredible.
Huh.
And it's it's been a wonderful thing.
I know.
Real physics and.
You said iRacing?
iRacing.com.
Okay.
You pay. They're doing a special right now. You get your first month for like $6,
Huh.
and then it's $13 every month thereafter.
Oh boy,
it's actually one of the better ones. It's one of the
kidding.
better ones. Well, it's one of the better ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, you'll see a lot of like actual real racing guys and gals that really race. They use it for simulator and everything else, and it's been pretty. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. I mean, there's nothing better than going around Indy at 230 miles an hour, at real physics.
Right.
Real physics, and you're going, oh my god, this is going ridiculous. And with the way my monitors are set up, I've got 3 screens.
That's fun to watch.
It's scary because you feel like you're actually in a car.
recent sim setup.
Yeah, it's once I get my wheel and my pedals, it'll be a lot more realistic.
Oh, I know. Penn and I have been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII Remake when we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You both have told me I need to get it, and I have to find out a way to justify.
You gotta get it. You gotta get it.
I have to justify.
It's not what I know you're in the crowd of like wanting to wait because it's not the 3 parts that we got back in '97, and you're not about to do that now, sort of thing. But please hear me out. It is not what you think. There's more of a reason why it's called remake than just it being a remake, and I'm not gonna say
I've been looking
than that.
More.
But
and on top of that, Shao, you were worried about the $100 like every year for the additional parts, and they're looking at actually about a 2 to 3 year gap,
right,
in between the parts just to make sure that they get it right.
Yeah,
so much.
Yeah, they're doing so much with it, and I'd love to say more, but I don't want to give away spoilers because there are spoilers. I don't know if that's a spoiler.
Telling me that there's spoilers is a spoiler. Okay, got it.
Well, and I mean, going more spoiler free with it. I mean, I'm about halfway through the game here.
Yeah.
They did cap the levels at 50, which is not a spoiler for any of it. It's just this part of the game. That's where they capped it. They did put in some alternate quests, so depending on the choices that you choose, it only unlocks certain quests. So they did do a new game plus where you can go back and replay the chapters and choose different options to do the different things. So they put a lot of thought and time in, and then just with the different side quests to be able to go through and get the different materia that you're getting, weapons that you're getting, and the way that they did it just is so immersive in feeling for now these characters that are in the slum.
I really agree.
Because when you were just going through in '97 on the original Final Fantasy VII, you didn't get a Midgard experience. You were in through, you did these little spots and things like that you didn't get to interact with people.
Yeah.
So I mean, even down to the point of finding cats for a little girl.
Oh yeah.
Super simple, but it's
Hearing
something
about
that you
their
go,
ways of life.
now you've met 3 other people that you didn't meet before, and you have all this other storyline. So there's so much that goes into this game. It's just.
Can you believe how much dialogue goes on while you're walking around? There's so much.
Oh, I had to turn off the side scrollers for part of it when I was going through the town, just because there was so much that was popping up on my side. I was like, all right, I'm trying to keep track of this and what they're saying, but I can't focus on both.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how much level of detail. I mean, you can stand in like the slums and just listen to people for a while. You listen to them talk about their jobs and their work at the reactor, and just like other little things that they put in here and there, or how seeing their family plate side is like more difficult than everybody just being in the slums. And there's a whole.
My favorite are the disgruntled Shinra employees that are wandering around in the slums.
Yeah.
They have some of the best lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
It's just
considering
so
they're all
immersive.
descended from a certain kid, Albed,
and there's a reference to that. There is a reference to that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I posted that in our Discord.
Saw that.
But There's something else too that I had no idea was in there. I'm not going to say it, but
I want to know.
all I'm going to tell you is look at everything when you're in the Shinra building. Just look at everything. There's a little gallery at a certain point. Please look at everything. It's crazy. There's some things that you would never
You're going to
imagine.
have to tell me at this point.
Huh?
You have to tell me.
What'd you say, Penn?
Are you talking about the painting?
The Neo Midgard thing. Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
The super futuristic Midgard that they had planned. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just there on the wall, and then there's also the founder's picture, that has grown-up kid Shinra from 10-2 and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, just look at everything when you're in
There's
there.
a lot of entrances up there in the Shinra building.
It's.
I may twist my arm. I don't know. We'll see.
I promise you, if you get it and you play it, you're gonna love it, Shell.
Shell, even if you don't do the deluxe version and you just get the base, because the additional 2 materia.
Oh my God, they didn't hardly matter. Like I did that. Like yeah.
All right. So what actually is the difference between the two then? It's just
what deluxe?
You get 2 additional summoning materia.
The Chocobo chick.
With the deluxe.
And the
the Cactar.
Wait. You get Chocofina with this?
Huh? No. It's a
13?
it's a generic Chocobo chick.
Okay, so it's not the chick from 13.
No. It's not that.
No.
It's not that Chocobo chick. It's a. When I said chick, I meant like baby Chocobo chick.
Okay.
Like a baby chicken would be a chick. Yeah. No, you get the you get Chocobo Lena like in your game. No, that'd be great. But no. You get a little baby Chocobo. Wait, hold on. Wasn't there 3? Because I have Cactar, Chocobo, and Carbuncle.
So there was 3. The one was for the pre-order.
Oh, one's a pre-order.
If you did the digital. Yep. So the Carbuncle was the pre-order.
Yeah.
And then with the
that's
Chocobo
right,
chick
Cactar.
and then the Cactar. And the 1,000 needles from Cactar.
Yeah.
It's just
doesn't seem to do anything. Like
no.
Like every time I've used the 1,000 needles, like it's so weak. Like I just stopped using the Cactar altogether.
Wait, that was a blue mage gun.
Well, that's also the Cactar's most famous move is 1,000 needles and 10,000.
Well, no, in the original 7, you could get that with the blue. Yeah, if you had the blue mage materia.
It's been a long time for me, so I don't remember that.
Oh yeah.
But
I played that.
But yeah, so don't spend the extra $20. Just get the base game, and you will enjoy the crap.
You'll love it.
At least 60 to 80 hours worth of game.
Yeah, like I got to summon my special summons, at the beginning, like twice maybe, and then that was it. And then you get Ifrit, and it's like you don't even need them.
It's like, why am I using the rest of this?
Oh, and the Ifrit summon is so amazing.
So,
have you unlocked the Shiva one yet, Shao? Or
no,
Reika?
No, I haven't. I just got Ifrit. I'm actually on my way to Reactor 5 now, but we do got to wrap this up now. So
because
we're a few minutes away from starting to do callouts for our Azure Eden Tuesdays, which we were talking about earlier. Yes, surprise! It's a Tuesday. You'll be listening to this in the future, but not very long from now. So that's right now what we're doing, and then.
So now we can refer to back in the day.
Yep. So real quick here in closing, I want to thank everyone for checking out episode 3 of the Azure Infinitum podcast. This is the comeback episode for the podcast. We talked a lot today about Resurgens, Caeruleum, the Azure Rising project. Please look forward to everything that we have coming, which is going to be live for you by the time you hear this. But there will be even more features rolling out over time. So look forward to that as well. I want to thank Pennadrin here, Stefan, and Shalindra for joining today from our Azure Council. Thank you guys. And we will see about regularly having, who we have regularly or who can pop into the podcast over time. Those listening, you might hear some other voices that we bring in from time to time and some familiar ones as well. If you haven't yet registered, please register on azureinfinitum.com. We will be requiring members as of the beginning of May to register on our website to obtain official member roles in our Discord. That way we know everyone is confirmed and registered as a member, and we don't have to worry about like bots gaining a member role and doing all their advertising mumbo jumbo that can happen in other Discords. Besides that, though, we just want to thank you all for coming on this episode. Check out all of our Azure services, such as our Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, which you can search and find Azure groups and various pages, depending on the website. If you're on PC, check out our Steam group. We're going to start utilizing that more. We'll be posting episodes of this podcast and more soon, as well as event reminders. You can also check out our PSN community and join us in Fantasy XIV